Hey there, Croven here with the Drone Bay, back for part 2 of our Alpha Insurgency experiment. So, in the last video, I enlisted, got my Insurgency pilot into the war zone, and now we're going to see if we can actually run these sites. So, if you haven't run an Insurgency site before, they're similar to faction warfare sites. What's going to happen is you warp in to an acceleration gate. You hit the acceleration gate to get into the actual site. Inside the site, there's a timer, and that timer stops when enemy rats show up, or when enemy players show up for that matter as well. And in the small plexes, which is most definitely what we're going to be targeting in this Rifter, the rats are frigates. They're a little bit better than your bog standard NPC frigates. So we're going to see if I can actually do this or if I need to go ahead and fit up the Thrasher. I wanted to go with the Rifter because I have a bunch of them and you only need to buy 3 guns in order to fly one. But that could also be a drawback when it comes to being able to do them quickly or potentially at all. So first things first, let's, if we do happen to have something tragic befall our Rifter, we don't want to take all of the ammo we bought with us. So, how do you find a site? Well, if you're in the Insurgency, I like to keep the Insurgency's tab down here in the corner, but alternatively, you can go through the agency. Well, here, let's back out. So if you go to Encounters, Pirate Insurgencies, you can open the Pirate Insurgency window that way. You can also do it through the regular Neocom menu. Under Activities, there's Insurgencies. And like I said, I just dragged it down here to the side, so I've always got it. And then once you're in the Insurgency window, you can hit Find Objectives, which does take you back to the agency. But here you can see, once again, the Angels are just absolutely mopping the floor with the Amar and Minmatar militias. So a lot of these systems are already at Corruption 5. I did see something pop up in Militia Chat about an ice mining op. We're not going to do that for a number of reasons at this point. But what we are looking for specifically is this type that's on screen right here. Angel Small Outpost Raid Advance 1. This tells us a few things. One, that it's small, meaning nothing bigger than a destroyer, a Tech 2 destroyer, can get in. It means, two, that there will only be the maximum loyalty point payout for a single pilot. So it dissuades other people potentially from coming in and trying to farm the same site that we are. So, and it's right here in our system. This system seems relatively slow. So I think we might just go ahead and go for it. Again, with the warnings on a new account. Yep. And actually that won't apply here because at corruption level 5, the local navy gets turned off. It's actually not even at level 5. It's... Alright, so let's see what we got here. How far away? Alright, I did change my overview, but it is still not ideal. It's still going to need some tweaking. So let's go. Let's check out this Angel Small. And I was looking... Oh, nobody had popped it. You see how it just showed up on my overview? So things show up on... The plexes only show up on the overview if someone has initiated warp to them. So that tells us that that had not happened. That nobody had warped to this before. Which is very good news for us. And I think... Let's see, PVX. Okay, there we go. Now I think we're in business. Alright, so as a member of the pirate militias, I'm going to be fighting these little Mordu's frigates. And like I said, they're a little bit tougher than your average bear. I'm going to go ahead and keep D-scan open. And my timer to cap this system doesn't start until these guys are all dead. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is painful. I'm used to doing this in a Navy Catalyst, which just blaps these things, even with railguns. Plus, we don't have a skin for this Rifter. That might be the one allowance I make. I might allow my other accounts to send this character skins, because I think I've got both Rifter and Thrasher skins on another account that this little fella could make use of. Trying very hard to minimize my transversal here because my skills suck, frankly. But okay, I was worried. So these things do tank relatively hard for rats, and you can actually see. Here we can go. Yeah, you see a little friendly Dramiel in here helping me out, kinda. The rats warp scramble each other, but I don't think I've ever been scrammed by a rat in one of the normal plexes. I don't believe they do that. In the bigger stuff, like in the ice mining ops and stuff like that, they 100% will scram you. So as we sit here and wait for these rats to die, we're gonna be here a while, because I think it's a 15-minute timer on the small, during which none of the rats can be present. And you're seeing how long it's taken me to kill one or two at this point. So what I may do, what I'm, so I may end up fast forwarding at some point in here, just because this is very slow, very, very slow. But we will get there eventually, and then hopefully, oh, I need to find, there we go. So that should, see, this is why I wish I had my old faction warfare overview. If anybody's got a suggestion for a good faction warfare preset, I can go through and fix it. And I've fixed a lot of this stuff on Crovan, but I don't necessarily remember what all I added. I kind of just, as things came up, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably be able to see that while I'm in Fac War. But if anybody's got a good preset, feel free to let me know. I didn't see any in the Eve overviews in-game channel, so. Whew. Yep. Small projectile turret. I might change up my skilling queue to emphasize more gunnery support. I used a lot of my million free skill points on gunnery and general ship support stuff. A little bit on Magic 14 type things, which if you're not familiar, the Magic 14 are skills that will benefit you basically no matter what ship you're flying and just about anything you're doing. These are good skills to have. So, well, now you can see the timer is running and will continue to run until the next round of Mordu's rats arrive here in the Plex with me. And I am not descanning as often as I should be. And once that happens, the timer will stop. I'll have to kill him again. And I imagine I'll fast forward through that part just so we can, just so that you're not here for half an hour watching me do very little. I'm not sure. I think the rats are on variable timers because sometimes it seems like you can go for a few minutes without seeing any. And then sometimes I swear the next round shows up like a minute after you killed the last one. So there's quite a bit of variability. But again, here to demonstrate, as I said earlier, this character, he's got 1.5 million skill points, so that almost 1.6. So that's the million free from the referral code, which you can find in the link below is my referral code. If you've never used one, either if you're starting a new account or if you're a returning player, something like that, you can click that link and it will give you a million skill points, which is a big head start on training or a way to catch up on skills and things that came into the game after you took a hiatus, which is what happened to me. And it also helps me out a little bit. I get a little bit of a kickback for helping CCP promote the game if you use that code. So, but anyway, so yeah, that plus a couple of days training while I was doing his career agent missions, and then some login rewards. This is during Capsuleer Day, so there are more skill points in the alpha queue than normal because there's that second queue happening. I was very tempted. So with a lot of my alphas, I'm going to give them a very short period of Omega toward the end of Capsuleer Day. And if you're doing something like this, I would highly recommend that once, provided you've been logging in enough to get the really good rewards at the end, like the big chunks of skill points, the Gnosis, the Praxis, things like that. When I tried it about a week ago, it did let me go back and retroactively claim the Omega rewards from an Alpha account. So, well, Myrmidon on scan, but he can't come in here because that is a battle cruiser and this site only allows destroyers. So yeah, and even if you just got like a weekend pack or whatever starter pack is like $4.99, it should let you go back and retroactively grab that stuff. It did for me on an account that I tested. So here's something interesting. So here come the rats for round two, and they gave us a good 3.5 minutes, which is cool. But see, this timer won't actually stop until they exit warp. So I've had it happen plenty of times that the rats will show up, but the timer will stop while they're in warp. So we've already learned this is a painfully slow process in my Tech 1 Fit Rifter. I will go ahead and show you the fitting real quick. It is nothing fancy, I assure you. So you've got 3 bog standard 200 mil railguns, a monopropellant enduring afterburner, a compact stasis web, a compact warp scrambler. I actually debated on the warp scrambler because we are in no way interested in PvP. 200 millimeter crystalline carbide restrained plate, that was a cost thing. Gyro stabilizer, small 1A enduring armor repair, and a damage control 1. Seeing how little damage these guys are doing to me, it is almost certainly worthwhile dropping something to fit a second mag step, because this would be going much faster. Alright, well, that wave is done. Oh, and I still have not fixed my radial menu. I don't like it being on the left mouse button. The radial menu is useful. I should get accustomed to using it more. But, yeah. So yeah, we've got just a few minutes left on this. So I want to talk a little bit about what this character's plan is going forward. So for right now, I am going to be training almost exclusively into frigate and destroyer skills. That's because that's the ships I got. That's what I was given for free. However, it occurs to me that I could potentially very quickly end up with a decent amount of money here if I'm smart about redeeming my loyalty points. So, cruisers might not be far away, at least money-wise. Or skill-wise, it'll be a little bit before I feel like this character has any business in a cruiser. And the money from smalls and mediums is fine. Plus, There is a role for smaller ships, especially in the ice mining op. You in fact want a couple of small fast ships for the capture the flag mechanic in that, which maybe we'll get into a little bit later this series. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see me try in this series, or any aspect of insurgencies, faction warfare, or just any related low sec kind of stuff you're curious about, feel free to drop me a comment down below and I will do my best to answer it. I am still knocking quite a bit of rust off after a long break from the game, a Noctis on scan, which we don't need to worry about. Yeah, so I'm knocking quite a bit of rust off, and I'm not going to be able to answer everything, but the group I fly with, Noir, is full of a lot of highly skilled pilots, and so they can probably help out. In fact, Noir is recruiting both for the main corp and for Noir Academy. So if you're at all interested in the mercenary lifestyle, I'm flying. This character is flying in the Angels Militia. Noir is in the Gueristas side of the insurgencies at the moment. You can head to our public Discord, which will be linked in the description below. You can also join the in-game channel, which is Cafe Space Noir Dot, and you can talk to us there about potentially joining up. I actually went on a recruitment roam the other day and had a great deal of fun. Did the billboard just blue screen? Did anybody else see that? In the background there, I swear the billboard had a BSOD. Oh, that was amazing. All right, well, there's another wave of rats here. I'm probably not going to put you through the torture of watching another one of these, so unless anything crazy happens, next time I talk to you, we'll be back in the station. So we're not back into the station, and nothing crazy happened, but something did occur to me after seeing a Myrmidon and then a Noctis, both with similar prefixes on their name. It occurred to me that it's pretty clear that someone is mission running in this system, which is extremely unwise, most likely. Now, granted, this system has been very quiet since we've been out here, but it's a Corruption 5 system. Which means, see that thing at the bottom? System security breakdown? That means no Concord, unless you pod someone. I think Concord does still show up if you pod someone. But yeah, high sec, be very careful assuming that high sec is safe if you're around an insurgency, because odds are good it's not. Just like you can't bubble in high sec like you can in low sec as far as I'm aware, but Concord does take a vacation while the pirates are running things basically. So, and actually this is still a good opportunity to talk here too. So I want to show you the tick here on my LP when they come in about 10 seconds, because I was actually really pleased with the Rifter's ability to run this site. It was painful and slow, but it did it. All right, LP. 27,500 loyalty points for 20-ish minutes of work. For an alpha, that is unreal. It's good for an omega. And oh yeah, you can see the rats warp away once the site's done. So a couple of lessons learned. The Rifter did do quite well, but I sucked down a lot of ammo and it took a lot longer than I would have liked. So when we get back to the station, we're gonna have another look at this fit. So here we are back in the station in Ammo. And while, like I said, the Rifter did fine, I can already see room for improvement. The tank, at least in smalls, completely unnecessary versus the NPCs. Now, that being said, this is low sec and we're at war. So, it may or may not be advisable to get rid of the tank. It is a little tempting to get rid of the armor rep, because plate rifters are already kind of a thing. So that is, yeah. So, and because what I want is I want another gyro stabilizer, a second gyro stabilizer. Let's sim the fit here. Helps if you spell gyro correctly. All right, so if we sim the fit, we unfit the gyro or unfit the armor rep. So we go from 76.8 to 85.8. But we are over on CPU. That's gonna mean dropping the damage control. Or, well, it'll still mean dropping the damage control. But if we go with a counterbalanced, it's a little bit easier on the CPU, but not enough, I don't think. Not enough to matter. So, well, by the next time we fly this ship, we'll have some changes made to the fit. So now, we have our 27,500 loyalty points. What are we going to do with them? All right, so follow me over here to the Fuzzworks LP store. And so what we're going to do is we are going to check prices for our loyalty points and, more importantly, what we can afford with our ISK. So we are Malakim Zealots. Let's check the Forge. Obviously, we're pretty far from the Forge, but we do have an alt who can potentially fly stuff back and forth for us. So, Malakim Zealots. And if you've never used Fuzzworks, it's a great site because it gives you a lot of different information here. It tells you how many LP something costs, how much ISK you have to pay in addition to the LP, the item, of course, if it has other material requirements, which a lot of modules especially do, other costs. Actually, yeah, and so this totals the JITA price for those other costs, how many you get, and the sell price in the region that you picked. And perhaps something that may get overlooked is the volume. This is how many are actually being sold in JITA. So if I just hit, okay, ISK per LP, holy crap, Synth X Instinct Booster Blueprint, that's ridiculous. You know, it's that actually is pretty insane. But, it's a relatively small number of things selling for the product that comes out of the Synth X Instinct booster for only 24 of them to be selling. So you want to pay some attention to volume. Faction ammo can be good, but something to keep in mind, especially for the sake of our challenge here, is you need to bring the Tech 1 ammo in order to do that. So it might actually be easier for us to go about this together. We could get a Mecha Ball blueprint. The problem is that I think my Jita alt was messing around with Mecha Balls, and they're kind of slow to sell. But we do have the LP. We do have the ISK. And the return is kind of bonkers. But look at the volume. Only 3 of them. Now you can... On my main, I would never consider this because I've got enough ISK that I don't need to be trying to constantly flip my stuff. But what is the buy price for a Mecha Ball? Because this character is going to be a lot more likely to be interested in instant ISK. Okay, what is happening here? I might have to double check that, because if this is real, oh yeah, well, that's why. Okay, never mind. Never mind. So yeah, the Mecha Ball, it's still almost 3,000, as is the Dramiel. All right, so we've jumped forward in time a few minutes here. I am going to need to do some more thinking about this because my lack of resources at the moment, and this is what I anticipated, is a significant hindrance on my ability to cash in these LP rewards. And I like that I pointed that out earlier, and then it was immediately like, oh yeah, let's just go with a mecha ball. Even though we obviously can't do that until we've established some more cash. So it's going to be a balancing act of cashing in LP rewards and, making sure I've still got enough liquidity on hand to be able to actually fit and fly ships. So this episode was entirely PvE. The next one probably will be too, but once I get a little bit more ISK, I've got a lot of Rifter hulls. We might go have a little PvP adventure at some point. So, if you found this video interesting and like the idea of these silly little alpha challenges, I know I do. I watch a lot of them. I've watched them for trade. I've watched them for any number of different tasks in the game. So now we're doing it for faction warfare. So anyway, if you like this sort of thing, I'd really appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribed to the channel. It really is the best way to help out small channels like this. And until next time, good hunting, and thanks for watching.